Let me start off. Good morning to everyone. Let me start off by certainly thanking Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee from the 18th Congressional District and Congressman Al Green from the 9th Congressional District for standing with me, as well as City Councilman Dwight Borkin from District D for being here as well. And then I want to acknowledge representatives from Congressman McCall, Congressman Poe, and Congressman Culverson office, and really appreciate them for being here as well. I am joined this morning by Dr. L. Wayne Brashear, Director of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Domestic Nuclear Detection Office, to announce the kickoff of the Securing the Cities program here in the Houston area. Now, let me just start off by saying there are 3 other cities that have received this grant before the city of Houston: New York, L.A., and D.C. Houston now becomes the 4th. Also joining us are representatives from the Houston Police Department, Pasadena Police Department, the Harris County Sheriff's Office, Brazoria County Sheriff's Office, Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, Galveston County Sheriff's Office, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and the Department of Public Safety. Securing the Cities is a Department of Homeland Security funded program designed to enhance the region's capabilities for detecting and interdicting unregulated radiological and nuclear materials that could be used as a terrorist weapon within our region or elsewhere in the United States. Houston was selected to participate in this program through a competitive application process, and other cities previously selected, as I mentioned, New York, Los Angeles, and the National Capital Region. I certainly want to acknowledge the support of the entire congressional delegation from Houston-Harris County and beyond, and I certainly want to acknowledge and thank both Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and Congressman Al Green for their help in making this possible. The program provides local funding up to $30 million over a 5-year period for the purchase of equipment and training and exercise for area law enforcement personnel. It is important to note that this program will not require additional officers, nor will it impair existing police service. Officers that will have been trained in the use of the detection equipment will go about their normal patrol duties, but will now be able to detect and react to suspicious radiological sources that would have otherwise been unknown to them. This will be just another tool to aid our law enforcement officers in their efforts to protect the public. And let me just say, with the use of the $30 million, it certainly would be protecting at least 6 million people in our area, in our region. Any radiological attack, however small, would have a significant impact on the region, not only in terms of potential injuries and loss of life, but also a very costly impact on the environment. We are grateful for having been selected for this program, and we look forward to working with the Domestic Nuclear Detection Office along with our regional law enforcement partners represented here today. With that said, I would like to introduce the Director of the Domestic Nuclear Detection Office, Dr. L. Wayne Brashear, and following him will be comments and remarks coming from our congressional delegation. Dr. Brashear.
Thank you, Mayor Turner.
Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, I'm pleased to be here in Houston to speak about our new Securing the Cities initiative and our partnership here in the Houston region. Excuse me. I'd like to commend Mayor Turner and our partners in the Houston area and across the state of Texas for seeking to enhance region-wide security and detection capabilities. I'd like to thank Representatives Jackson Lee and Green for joining us here today, and especially extend my thanks to them both for their very strong support of this program. My organization, the Domestic Nuclear Detection Office, works across the Homeland Security enterprise, bringing together law enforcement and public safety personnel and organizations to enhance and coordinate radiological and nuclear detection efforts. The Securing the Cities program is a key piece of that work. In 2006, we launched the Securing the Cities program in the New York City, Jersey City, Newark area. And in the 10 years since that pilot project, we've extended the program to Los Angeles, Long Beach region in 2012, the National Capital region in 2014, and of course the Houston region just last year. And we plan currently to bring the program to Chicago in that region later this year. In the days, months, and years ahead, we will work closely with the Mayor's office and our other partners here so that together we can continue to strengthen the enterprise in the Houston area. In support of this partnership, we will provide planning, equipment, training, and exercise assistance. Together, we will expand regional capabilities to detect and interdict nuclear and other radioactive materials out of regulatory control. The program will also allow us to better support and unite efforts already underway across the country, increasing cooperation and coordination across federal, state, and local jurisdictions and agencies. We look forward to working with the many agencies that will participate in the STC program here in the Houston area so that we may continue to enhance our homeland security. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Brashear, and certainly we appreciate the $30 million grant over a 5-year period. Very much appreciated. Let me call on Congressman Al Green from the 9th Congressional District.
Thank you very much, Mayor Turner, and thank you as well for inviting me and my colleague Jackson Lee, to Councilmember Boykins, and all of the law enforcement persons who are assembled here today. This for me is special because I had the preeminent privilege of working with then Chairman Benny Thompson when this initiative was brought to the attention of Congress. And along with Peter King, we were able to get an amendment. The amendment that I sponsored was in H.R. 2611 to expand this program, and of course my desire was that Houston be a part of it. So it's special for me to see this come to fruition. But it's also special to me because I understand that the world is not a safe place. I understand that those who believe that you can leave the world alone and the world will leave you alone are not correct. We have to take affirmative action to provide the best protection that we can for the people in our country. This program does that, and it does it by a means of a symbiotic process. The symbiosis that's produced by virtue of having law enforcement and technology and intelligence interlinked such that we can provide the best protection available for the American people is something that is special to me. I want to make reference to the $30 million. That's a lot of money, but if there's more that's needed, I want to be the first to give my assurance that I will be on the front line to secure more dollars. Because in the final analysis, money is not nearly as important as human lives. And we can never, ever let it be said that we didn't spend enough to protect the American people. Mayor Turner, you have done an outstanding job in a very short period of time. You have demonstrated superior leadership, not just leadership, but superior leadership under adverse conditions. But you and I know that out of adversity, there's an opportunity, and the opportunity for you to demonstrate your leadership abilities has been something that I have admired, and I want to assure you that I stand ready to work with you to make sure that we do not only what this program will allow us to do, but also many other things, especially on a day like this when it's raining in Houston, Texas, and we need to do everything that we can to prevent flooding. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, members of Homeland Security, and I thank the press for being here.
Thank you, Congressman Al Green. Appreciate that. And now, representing the 18th Congressional District, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. And let me, first of all, say that terrorism is unpredictable. And for that reason, this grant, spearheaded by the City of Houston, Mayor Turner and his regional team that includes the many regions that are involved and the head of Homeland Security for the City of Houston, this is an important statement that is being made. First, let me, Mayor, say to you on another topic, thank you for your leadership with the flooding conditions that we have faced and may be facing in the future. Our hat is off to you for the diligent leadership that you've given, and we stand ready to work with you again. So we thank you on that. This is an important step. Dr. Brasher, thank you very much as well for now leading the effort. As a senior member of the Homeland Security Committee and the only Houstonian on that committee, we continue to be reminded of how precipitous terrorism is. And so the Secure Communities Grant is based upon creating a global architect to fight off the idea of nuclear terrorism. And Houston and Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles should not in any way feel that they're immune from such attacks. That's why the mayor's leadership and this grant, $30 million over 5 years, is so very important for its regionalism, that it is not just the city, it is the region. We've had to reauthorize this grant over a period of time, and we've had to do it in the years since it was first authorized in 2006, 2010, and 2015. And I have been very grateful that we have joined together as members of the Homeland Security Committee, working with our appropriators, because funding must continue to fight for and insist that these grants be rendered. This is a prime example of saving lives of millions of persons. So let me, as I close, indicate that my mission and the mission of Homeland Security Department, and I certainly bring you greetings from the Secretary of Homeland Security, who has visited this city and realizes the important infrastructure of security that is here in Houston. But on behalf of the Homeland Security Department, which Dr. Brasher represents, and the members of the Homeland Security Committees, I want you to know that our greatest achievement is prohibiting, preventing, or standing in the way of another terrorist act of the magnitude of 9/11 ever happening in this nation. This grant, dealing with nuclear detection and training men and women who are on their everyday basis deal with security, and by the way, we're in one of the finest emergency centers, I think, in the nation, but is a key responsibility of this local government. They have accepted the challenge, they are using the grant right, and I believe that Houstonians will sleep better at night and will be safer because of this leadership, because of the funding that we have given from the federal government to this city and to this region. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership again.
Thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee. Just two more speakers, and then we'll take any questions you may have. I certainly want to give credit to where credit is due. Dennis Dorinsky, as head of Homeland Security for the city of Houston, was the one who helped put this grant together and wrote it and got it out. And as a result, we are the recipients of it. And it wouldn't be possible without the representation from the region as well. So though we're here in the city of Houston, without our regional partners, we simply would not be successful. So I do want him to come and have some comments. Dennis Dorinsky, head of Homeland Security for the city of Houston. Dennis.
Well, thank you. I think everything's been said. This is an important grant, as it's been said more than once. It's a regional program. Our partners standing here behind us from the various law enforcement agencies for the Sheriff's Department. In our application process, we had to get their concurrence, their agreement to participate with us. They all graciously agreed because they recognized the seriousness of what we're dealing with. You know, it only would take, regardless of how small a radiological release might be, the long-term effects, not only on injury and death to our citizens, but just as importantly to the long-term effect on our environment would be disastrous. So it's better to try to prevent an incident like that rather than have to deal with it in the aftermath. So that's what this program's about. It's going to give our law enforcement officers another tool to protect the citizens within their jurisdiction. So again, I thank all of our partners for being here, and certainly our congressional delegation and our elected representatives. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dennis. And finally, I have 16 partners on City Council. I need each and every one of them. And so let me call on one of my partners on City Council, and that is Councilman Dwight Boykin, representing District D.
Well, let me let me apologize. I thought this press conference was to cover the mayor passing a budget in 150 days with a unanimous council with reoccurring dollars. Mayor, I'm at the wrong one? I just want to thank the congressional delegation. I want to thank Congressman Al Green and Congresswoman Lee for their leadership of getting this grant to Houston. We just hope that we be able to address this issue. We know the Super Bowl is coming. This is important to our region and to our area. And just want to thank you and the leadership. And in media again, we passed a budget, unanimous, no tags. That needs to be covered. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. Having said that, if you have any questions for any of us, certainly for Dr. Brashear, for Dennis Dominski, or for any of the congressional delegation, this is a good time.
Good morning, Mayor. My name is John Garcia with Univision 45. HPD released new surveillance video of a person of interest in the killing of the 11-year-old boy.
Josue Flores, yes.
I wanted to see if you had any comment about that.
Well, you know, I'm certainly pleased with the progress that HPD is making, but let me tell you, it is a community effort, and there is a person of interest that we are looking for, and my hope is that we can bring a conclusion to it for his family, for the Flores family, as well as for the community itself, for the people on the near north side, and the city of Houston as a whole. So I know that the Crime Stoppers Award is now up to $45,000. But it's my hope that we can bring a resolution to this matter. So I think we're making some steps, but until we have everything in and we know we've got the right person, we're just going to continue to be vigilant and do what we need to do from a law enforcement point of view.
Thank you. Any message to the community? We're expecting more rain, more flooding. Any message to the residents of Houston and the area?
Well, let me tell you, and we're here today with the focus on the $30 million coming from the Department of Homeland Security for radiological detection, and that's critically important, and that certainly affects Homeland Security. You know, on the same continuum, so to speak, flooding is another. We have key assets within the Houston area, within the Houston region, and flooding it works against us on that end as well. And we're trying to deal with both all at the same time. And quite frankly, Congressman Al Green mentioned about if there's a need for additional resources, I certainly would accept his offer because there's a need for additional resources as we deal with the radiological threat, which is real. I mean, bear in mind what this region is all about. We're the fourth largest city in the country, soon to be the third. When you combine the region, there are over 6 million people in the region. And we are very much interconnected. Houston can't do it by itself. Or what impacts Houston impacts the region. What impacts the region impacts Houston. And flooding is a key example. So there's flooding in Fort Bend, Waller County, Washington County, Brazoria, Harris County, City of Houston. All of us are impacted. And I had conversations with the mayor of Rosenberg and the mayor of Richmond on yesterday, extending our help to them. But at the same time, that's the importance of having these regional partners here on this particular issue. We are all interconnected, and flooding is a big, big issue that we're having to address. Congressman Green.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. This is an opportune time for me to give you an update on H.R. 5025. The mayor has worked with us on this piece of legislation, and this bill would help us to eliminate a good deal of flooding and mitigate additional flooding. There is no way to eliminate all flooding, but it is important to note that within the last year, Houston, Texas has been declared a disaster area not once but twice. In the last year, we have lost approximately 16 lives in Houston, Texas due to flooding. Houston no longer has 100-year floods and 500-year floods. Houston is now having billion-dollar floods. The tax day flood is going to cost us about $1 billion. This important piece of legislation is advancing. My colleague Jackson Lee is one of the co-sponsors, along with a host of others, and it's important to note that it is bipartisan. We have bipartisanship by virtue of people from this area who've signed on to it. Culberson is on, Representative Culberson, Representative Poe, Representative Weber, Representative Brady, all on this legislation, and we have 71 people who have signed on to it to date, 71. So we're looking forward to getting this emergency supplemental legislation acted on so that we can bring the money to Houston in an expeditious way that will come to Houston eventually. All of these projects have been authorized. It's just a question of, will we go ahead and immediately, as quickly as possible, put them in place so that we can mitigate flooding in Houston, Texas. And Mayor, I appreciate your help with this endeavor. Thank you.
Any other questions for anyone? Again, Dr. Brashear, thank you so very much. The grant is very much appreciated and will benefit a lot of people. Oftentimes we wait until something happens, then we respond after the fact. This is happening beforehand. I think people recognize the medical center, the petrochemical industry that we have in the city of Houston, utilities, you name it, so many assets that we have in the region. So thank you so very much and very much appreciated. Yes, Councilwoman Sheila Jackson.
I just want to say that the importance of this nuclear training and understanding is that we are a porous soil. It ties into this idea of flooding. And so any nuclear spill, radiological, can create the negative environment that the chief has mentioned. This makes this even more important, Mayor, for utilization. And I also wanted to thank you for reaching out to your fellow mayors because their spill, their flood is our flood. Their oil spill is our oil spill. That's what Homeland Security does. And in addition, let me say, as I've joined my colleague, I do want to thank the entire Harris County delegation, state congressional delegation. It's important to note that we work in a bipartisan manner. And I think that is important because that's how we generate more funds to this city. Lastly, let me say that one of the things that the Army Corps of Engineers has also asked for is a study to determine how funding should be used and how to fix our problems. And so, Mayor, that is coming as well as it is already in the energy and water bill, so that you have a massive study of all of your bayous to determine what we're doing wrong and what we're doing right. We need to stop flooding now, in spite of the fact that we're 50 feet below sea level. I believe with new technology we can do it.
Lastly, to Fort Bend, Missouri, Pasadena, let me thank all of you, Texas Department of Public Safety. Let me thank all of you. Galveston, certainly don't want to leave Galveston out, and I don't want to leave out HPD, Chief Durden. So let me thank all of them. This is a regional matter, but one of the things that I want to emphasize in the term of my administration is that we need to be preventive as much as possible. We don't want to be reactive, we want to be preventive. We need to identify the available assets that we have to deal with possible Homeland Security issues. So that's important, and this is a step in that direction. So again, thank you very much. Feel free to talk to any of us afterwards. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, especially on a day like today. Thank you.